It is so good to see you, Global Book Network. Welcome right into the studio. You got Josh Carey here, your Global Book Network. Global Book Network. If you can or can't hear it with my voice, I am really excited about today's episode. We were talking a little bit before air, and I don't really get to talk about this one side of me, but I love writing. I've spent a good deal of my career as an actor and filmmaker writing. So I've come to really like and appreciate the art. And we were talking about that. I think some people just don't really consider it as an art and really embrace it and understand it. But let's bring our guest onto the show. It is Donna Lynd. She is in every capacity, her entire life and career, a writer. All kinds of material, least of which is what we're talking about today. Her novel, a mystery, a murder mystery, I believe. It's called Leaving Innocence, and it's a Gran and Bass Olson mystery. And we're going to talk all about this. First of all, Donna, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This is delightful.
I'm so glad you already think so. I feel the same. So this novel of yours, like I said, you've spent your whole life and career writing playwrights, scripts, skits, every kind. And now you've written this novel. First, paint the picture of how writing came into your life.
Oh, well, thanks. Okay. I grew up in a place called Stillwater, Oklahoma. They have tornadoes there. And so, of course, what do you have? You always have a storm cellar. And most of the year, you don't need it. But I created a theater down there. And then I would invite my friends. Yeah. And I would type all these little plays. And we would put on plays we call it the basement. And I think it was so much fun. It was a way of taking life as a girl out in the country and making it fun, making it either funny or dramatic, or and also my friends, some of whom would be very shy. You stand around with me long enough, I'm going to hand you a script, and now you just say this thing.
So as a child, you were just attracted to writing. You just did it, didn't give it too much thought. And then in real time, you were probably just honing the craft in real, right?
I think so. I think so. I think I was like the only teenager. I loved Neil Simon.
Oh,
And
stop it. I just got the chills, Donna. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Neil Simon? Oh my goodness. I didn't expect that one. My favorite. Go on.
Okay, good. All right. See, there you go. Well, just that fact that here's a guy who's writing down words, and yet you can hear these people. And then when you see like sometimes they'd be kind of some hometown plays and stuff, it's like these people are awful, but it doesn't change the fact that the words are amazing.
That's right. Someone like Neil Simon, again, I've spent my whole life on stage and musical theater and plays and film and all of those, all of that. And Neil Simon, certainly, I love the realism and yet comedic approach, right? The balance between what made it so funny, but it was heartfelt.
Absolutely. And you knew that those people they're walking around. You loved just the way that it was real, and yet it was dramatic. It was just such a wonderful mix of like believable. And now I call it credible fiction, but it's
Yeah.
you could really relate to these people.
So when you were growing up as a child and a young adult, you obviously were drawn to the art of writing. When did you start taking it, quote unquote, seriously, as in, wow, I could really do something with this in my life?
Yeah, I got my doctorate at USC in a field called instructional technology, and it was early on teaching people with television and computers and all that. Well, inevitably, you got a whole bunch of people that know about teaching theory and all that. But somebody actually had to put the stuff together so that when you went into the television studio and you're teaching people how to do this medical thing or how to put together this, color camera or, put together this hard drive or whatever it is, somebody had the words to make it happen. So inevitably I was that one. And so I got to do a lot of education stuff. I got with, by the way, the School of Cinema and TV, they were always needing stuff. And so they didn't even turn to their own people. They turned to like me to like write the script, business stuff. And then later on in aerospace, and then I had different people that would market me about, we need these materials or this education training materials. And well, you want to hire her, she's tame, she'll come up with what you want and she'll make the deadline. And then kind of based on that, I got invited to pitch screenplays. I reviewed for a small magazine. It's called Main Performance Magazine. And so for like 2 years, I would go to the Directors Guild and to review the movies before they came out and write little reviews. And I was like the only like mom, woman, like had a real life. Everybody else was kind of, the Hollywood groupie types. And so that was very fun for me. And then when Columbia was getting ready to buy Sony Pictures, they invited a group of us, or like, well, it started out about 12 and it ended up being about 6. Every month we'd be invited to pitch screenplay ideas. And I know it's amazing. And so I was tame. I didn't have an agent. I was just, it was nice. And so I learned a lot about pitch and the kind of, I even had an opportunity to write a spec script. And you have like 10 days to actually come up with something. And it was very, it was not lucrative at all for me. Unfortunately, I had this other life over here, but in terms of like opening doors of like, oh my gosh, the same people are doing the same stuff. And they were very interested in some new voices that weren't weird. Okay, I'm sorry. But anyway, so I got to learn a lot. And then that idea of one of the nights, I ended up saying, I had a girlfriend who's been a girlfriend since I was, I don't know, 2 years old. And she became an accountant. And so I'm telling her about, I'll be going to Beverly Hills, I'm going to pitch. And oh, I really want to come. I really want to come. So we're sitting there. I walk in with my friend. As soon as I walk in with my friend, all the other writers like, oh my God, you brought your agent. Oh, no. I'm so good. I brought my accountant. And of course, the other writers are like shocked. The guys behind the tables, the executives were dying right away. They're like, we like her. We like her. Anyway, it's pretty fun.
So what happened? You started reviewing movies, got the chance to then pitch your own ideas. So you bring your accountant, and then what happened with that pitch?
Well, actually, it was kind of the spin-off of that pitch where they're like, you know what, just write, if you can write a spec script, if you can have this in 10 days, then we'd like to do that. We'll be interested. And it was a thing that was going to be, Julia Roberts was going to be paid to have kidnapped George Burns because George Burns wanted to know how his relatives really felt about him. It was called Kidnappers R Us. Okay, it was kind of cute. It's kind of, okay. So I do this. I have a very traumatic 10 days that my child was hurt. And actually, I'm writing the screenplay at midnight till 3 in the morning in the office of the Ronald McDonald House, if you can imagine. So I fly back to I'm doing this stuff, and then they come out of the meetings, and of course these are guys that with their $1,000 shoes, and they go, we've just realized Julia is really too expensive. We're not interested in this. So again, it's that part, as where you're moving from an idea to something real, and then if the moment is right, then it catches. If the moment isn't right, then it's gone. And the person that's better for it is the writer, because then it's like, obviously I had the experience, I had people engrossed in with it with me, and then all of a sudden, the decision makers are like, now we're not going to go for that. and which is fine. And then we there were many other things that we went on from there. But
So let me see if I understand this timeline. You went with your best friend for years, an accountant. She looks to be in the position of an agent. Everyone has a good laugh. In that moment, that's when you just pitched an idea and they said, oh, we kind of like this. If you can get us a fully fleshed out spec script in 10 days, we'll consider it. But then you were saying something about the Ronald McDonald House. I missed that
yeah,
part.
so during those 10 days as I'm writing it, yeah, I needed to go to Oklahoma. My mom had died, and anyway, yeah, all kinds of stuff happened. Writing, of course, you can imagine writing a comedy, sitting there in the office of Ronald McDonald House, where these children are very, very ill. Their parents are very ill. And then it's like, just really getting centered on let's see if we can make this thing happen. You follow the formula that you're supposed to, but then again, there was none of the Neil Simon. I couldn't breathe life into these characters the way I wanted to, but at least I thought in my mind, I've gotten from A to Z on paper, but obviously it's going to be a lot of rewrites. It's going to be all kinds of stuff, but at least I've met what they're asking me to do.
Out of curiosity, why did you have to come to the table with the Julia Roberts and George Burns? I mean, why was that the deal breaker instead of, okay, well then let's just cast whoever else we can?
Yeah, and I see again a learning from me, right? Apparently that as I said that I was having an opportunity that you pitched lots of things,
Yeah.
ideas, and apparently the guys sitting behind the table are like, oh man, I Julia, I saw her and blah blah blah. Let's maybe
Oh,
I'm
so you
dating
had
her
her in mind
agent or
as the
something.
character.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and again, like when you're involved in these, it's more than just you and the creative idea. There's that moment of the catch of like, okay, how are we going to make this thing happen? Is it gonna breathe life or not? And I think I kind of be able to kind of neutralize it. It's like I'm going to do my part as good as I can. What happens next? I can't tell you.
Has that been a great driving force in your life? Hey, I'm going to do what I can and let the rest go.
Exactly. Well, and ironically, as we talk about this main character in this book, this is a woman. We that is our main character, our Sherlock Holmes, if you would, is a person. She's she's cared for a crippled person for 17 years. The guy dies. She finds out her son was murdered. She's going to be given a windfall because of just the circumstances of her life. And here's the thing. She is going to put up that whole $1 million to find out who murdered her son. The same kind of thing. Everybody's going, you're an old lady. You can't do, what are you thinking? And she's going to be saying, you know what? I'm going to just do the best I can, and I'm not giving up. So I would probably say in terms of writing, I think probably you and I both agree on this, is we're going to give it our best shot. And then, well, sometimes we have to release the results. Sometimes they're not what they want, but then sometimes they're better than we could have even asked for, right?
We're talking about the book Leaving Innocence, which Hidden Nation, available right now on Amazon.com. Of course, for those like me that have the Kindle Unlimited plan, you get to read it for $0. And it's also, you were telling me, Donna, that you have also recorded an audiobook version of this on Audible. Tell me about this.
Oh yeah, it's on Audible. We had a wonderful our narrator, our Dr. Watson, if you will, is a young guy. Everybody adores him. He's 25. He was a laid off brilliant guy. I got to be at Pomona College for several years, and I got to be around a lot of brilliant kids. And one of the guys that was part of our students that worked in the computer lab that I was in charge of had been raised in his car with his mom. He was homeless. I know. And he's just brilliant. And boy, he could put in the seat time. And my position there at this prestigious college is they were always sending me, they call them prototypes, of software that was going to be released. And they would send it to us to work out, write up critiques and work out the bugs and stuff. This guy was great. But then I realized, he never had a yard. He never had a pet. He never, he'd been homeless, raised in his car. So that nugget of him, I've made him the narrator of our story, and I've given him this wonderful grandmother, and the two of them together are going to be, solving mysteries. Not only this one, but more to come. It's a real visual, hopefully. Springboard into a lot of stories, but yeah, so we found a wonderful actor. He's he reads it.
Yeah.
He voices it. Yep, does an amazing job. It's real fun. You listen to it in the car, and there you go.
I like the title, Leaving Innocence, right? I mean, obviously it's deliberate and specific, multi-dimensional, multi-meaning, leaving innocence. In one capacity, we're talking about a fictitious town of Innocence, Arkansas, where this takes place. How do you approach titling a book?
Oh, whoa, what a wonderful question. This one and even its sequel actually had different names. And then, as you know, you get totally engulfed in the creative process, and all of a sudden, these muses, whatever you want to call them, it'll be like, yeah, oh my gosh, this is what we've got to name it. This is what we have to. I think in this particular case, Innocence, we worked to create this little town, the characters that are in it, this amazing house, and they're going to be forced to leave it because obviously this murder happened a long way away. So again, it's their adventure together, an intergenerational kind of an adventure going together. So I think that's how that one came about.
So we've seen you've spent your life writing all kinds of formats, but Leaving Innocence is your first fiction novel. Why now?
Yeah, that's a good point. I believe that I've been around enough brilliant young people who are going through life kind of going, whatever. There's a lot of confusion there. And I believe that it was a spark of, you can choose something big and good that's way bigger than yourself, and you can actually commit to it. And I know, and I'm kind of learning more and more that is getting so rare. And for the people that understand it, it's absolutely precious. And for the people that don't understand it, are they sort of want to, but at the same time, it kind of shakes up their values. Apparently, I've been found offensive on Amazon because I know how can that be? Our main character is Christian, very real strong Christian. She's lived in the country and been a very in her own way entrepreneurial. You get by with whatever it is that you've got. You're going to make this thing. She gets $1 million. Well, she's not going on a cruise. She's not fixing up her house. She's not moving. She's putting it up as a reward because justice means everything to her. And, what would you give for justice? Everything.
Where's the offense?
Excuse me?
Where's the offense that you said it was?
Oh, the offense. The offense is her son was murdered. And for 17 years, people go, well, I don't know. And they actually hadn't told her that he was murdered. They had told her that he died in his truck. And then she found out that he'd actually been murdered in his truck.
But you were saying people found you offensive.
People found me offensive. Well, basically, there's other characters in this book. One of them is the daughter, who's like, of course she wants the $1 million. And one of the interviews was like, because she's a wicked girl. Just imagine. I mean, she's okay. Anyway, she loves it. She loves evil. She loves thinking about evil. She loves doing it. And
the character.
The character. Yes. Well, about this dysfunctional character. And now I'm correcting this interviewer like you, going, she's really not dysfunctional. She loves evil. She loves thinking about it. She loves doing bad stuff. And apparently what I had to say offended her. So it's kind of interesting. Good news was it sparked some interest by another marketing guy who's like, she's offensive. Well, let's just see what this thing is about. So he read it, and then so it entered it again into a whole new plane of unexpected excellence.
So if there is whatever we label it, dysfunctional, offensive, etc., does that have to, obviously it comes from you. Where does it come from? Does it have to be part of your experience? Where do you call that from?
Oh, wow, you got amazing questions. I think in my growing up time, I had someone in my life who he loved evil. He had a lot of choices in his life, and every single one, he always chose the bad choices. And then when he chose the less bad choice, he had to real fast make another bad choice. In other words, he loved being bad. He just and it's not glamorous at all when you're on the wrong side of that. I know a lot of people that, oh, the bad boys, and all that. It's not happy when you're on the wrong side of that. And so we were able to take that essence of that person, and the good news is, though it's not a major part of the story, it's an influence there. And it also makes one of the reasons why this intergenerational thing between the grandmother and the grandson, they both have a common enemy, and that is this woman who's just so if there's a way to make things chaotic, if there's a way to make things bad, she's going to do it. For, I suppose it's old fashioned in the fact that you've got the good side and you got the evil side. And apparently that is offensive to people nowadays. What can
As a writer,
I
Donna, are you
say?
somebody that writes every day to stay well oiled, or do you just write whenever the spark hits?
Well, I try to write each day. A lot of it's junk. I'm sorry. That's some of it
Gotta
is.
be, right?
Yeah, well, it's got to be. Yeah. And you kind of do it just like, are you going to keep in shape by running every day? Well, how about if I walk 5 miles? Will that be okay? I think that's kind of me. And I am, when I do journaling, people go, oh, do journaling. Well, that's like a pencil, paper kind of thing. When I'm actually sitting down to write the drama, the skits, now they're asking me to write some like short kind of character things between the two characters about, just like different snatches of their relationship or their lives. It's always at the computer. So it's really two different finger techniques, two different eye things.
Sure.
But I think, as you know, we kind of have to do that because you have to get in tune with that part of you that's going to create something for nothing and keep it clean, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and that takes practice. How about you? Are you a writer every day, or what do you do?
Um, well, yeah, I think in some form, right? It depends what we're talking about. If we're talking about the art and the craft of writing for the end result of writing, then no, I don't do that every day. But do I write every day? Yeah, I think a lot of us do. And I think even composing an email, you can be a deliberate writer in any capacity, whether it's business, casual, friendship, entertainment, a social media post. Writing is a skill that is, if you could master it and come to like it, love it, or appreciate it, there's a lot of upside to it.
You better believe it. I could not agree more. I could not agree more. My first attempt at writing, this was many years ago. It was so writing fiction, because that was, it was like I had Alzheimer's. I could, I was never hungry. I was never tired. I know a lot of the artists go, you get in the flow.
Mm-hmm.
And man, what was happening on that computer screen was more real than what was happening in my life. And it was such a fun experience. But then you move out of the fun experience, right?
How do you handle rejection? I know it exists, especially in the creative arts.
Yeah. Like I said, part of it is let's just do a new day. And then I also try to listen to who it's from. For instance, my readers, I consider them my most important characters. And I love to do read alouds as when I'm doing progressions with my fans. And so when they go, wait, when she said that, was she really say that? Or, I got confused about, like you were saying about, different things. And so it's like, okay, obviously I got to fix that. Now, to have a interviewer or a mystery writer that writes, kind of, well, what can I say? I want to say canned, but that's probably not the right formulaic. And blah, 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 blah. You take that with a grain of salt, because as far as I'm concerned, she's telling me about herself and not what I need to know. What I need to know is, are my readers engaged? Are they confused? Are we ready to turn the next page? That's where my criticism is. So yeah, that's where I come from in terms of criticism.
When does the next book release?
Well, we're hoping for the end of the year. So
Okay.
this is September. Yeah. We know all the things that are going to happen. We're going to know all the adventures are going to happen. It's just the part now of getting it from here to there.
Well, this is really exciting. GBN, the book on Amazon right now, is Leaving Innocence, a Gran and Bass Olson mystery. It is, of course, by Donna, Lynd. It is every bit an incredible murder mystery that, as the reviews say, keeps you guessing, which I imagine is everything you want in a book. Available on Amazon, Kindle Unlimited, and Audible, if you're like me and appreciate that read along while you're driving or doing some other thing in the house. Donna, the time just flies by. I hope we can do this again. You're extraordinary. I enjoyed every moment of this. Thank you for being you and doing what you're doing here.
Thank you, Josh. Back at you. This is delightful. Thank you.
I'll take every bit of that. Thank you, Donna. And thank you, GBN, for tuning in. I hope you have a little smile on your face and are inspired and motivated to do something, whatever that is. Take action on that. Get out there, put your best foot forward, continue to do the good work, show up and be seen. As always, things tend to work out much better when you are, believe it or not. We're going to do this again before too long. Until we meet again, take care. Be well.
Thank you. Bye.